What is that, you may ask? That would be a successful escape from Tri-Cities Escape Games located on State Street. To tell us a little bit more about Tri-Cities Escape Games and how it got started, here's Kelly Crow.
My husband and I we relocated to the Bristol area back in April of 2016, and that's when we opened the Tri-Cities Escape Game. It was us and our children. We're originally from Georgia, but we did live in the Bristol, Abingdon area about 17 years ago when our two oldest children were born. Fell in love with the area, and when the Lord opened the doors for us to be able to come back, we were really excited. We were involved in an escape room in Morgantown, West Virginia. We lived just north of Morgantown in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania for 13 years. Some friends of ours opened one there, and we began helping them with the marketing, and we really enjoyed it. And then when the Lord was relocating us to this area, one of our sons was sort of taking leadership in that role, and so he kind of began it actually, and then my husband and I kind of followed and were helping him, and it sort of led to a family business. And of course now he's in DC and we're working the business. So when we came to the area, we really didn't know where we were going to create an escape game. We knew the Tri-Cities did not have one. And of course we loved Abingdon, and I had worked in Bristol years ago for John Lundberg and actually worked on State Street. But at that time, State Street wasn't quite what State Street is today. There's been so many changes in Bristol. So while we wanted to be in Bristol, we were probably thinking more of Johnson City. That's what we were really thinking. So our first place when we moved down to look was we explored Johnson City, and we were thinking that's where we were going to open. Then we were meeting some friends for dinner, drove back through Bristol, and drove down State Street. We were like, oh my, look at Bristol, this is incredible. And we didn't turn back. We never turned back. At that point, we began looking for locations and trying to find the perfect spot, and it didn't take us long before we found this location, and we are so thankful that we chose Bristol. Bristol was amazing. I cannot say enough about Believe in Bristol. We found the website, we called, we worked with the leadership at Believe in Bristol. They walked us step by step. They helped us with finding a location. They guided us. Just if I ever needed a question, they were a text away. And it was an incredible blessing. Stopped by the chamber, they told us all about downtown, and of course they signed us up for membership, and they helped us. It's been an incredible opportunity to be in Bristol, the amount of support that you get from the chamber and from Believe in Bristol, and then from the other merchants and the other businesses. It's really kind of a family environment with the way everyone helps one another and works together. My husband's actually a bivocational minister, and that's kind of what was moving us to this area. And we had the escape game experience from Morgantown and decided that this might be a fun way for our family to work together. We've always loved working with our children. We love creating stuff, we love building stuff, and we love being a part of community. And so the escape game really lended itself well for that experience. Something unique about us is that a lot of escape games are popping up all across the nation. It's becoming very popular all of a sudden. But one thing a little bit different about us is that our escape games are all original. So we create them. The games that are here, you're not going to find the games here anywhere else in the entire world. So they're unique. We look for original themes, and we really try to give people an experience in Bristol that they're not going to have anywhere else when they play an escape game. Creating an escape game from scratch is a lot of work. So a lot of the times when we're driving back and forth, preparing to move here between Pennsylvania and Tennessee, as we're driving, you know, we're storyboarding, we're talking about the themes, we're planning, we're looking on eBay, we're stopping at flea markets, and we're trying to find the stuff that we need. So every game probably takes a good 6 months to build, at least. Some longer. So our first game was the Great Twister Escape, and in that scenario you are driving through Kansas and the largest tornado on record is suddenly getting ready to intercept your path, and you have to find shelter. The closest place that you find is an abandoned farmhouse, and once inside you find that it's a little bit a little bit more unique than you thought it was going to be, and you have to figure out where the storm cellar is and how you're going to escape the twister. But there's some little peculiar, interesting things about the storyline once you get in there that you find out. But Twister was our first game. Ransacked on Route 66, this game was our second one. In this one, you're racing across Route 66 at an overnight pit stop. Someone has ransacked your car and they've kidnapped your lead driver and they've stolen your modified carburetor. You have an hour to get back in the race. And Shifty and his boys are in it to win it, and they're gonna come back. And you need to be out of here before they get here. So it's a fun game. And we also have Leviathan Lab, which is kind of a Jurassic theme. It's a dinosaur theme, and you're on an island. The power has been clipped by a tsunami, and you are trying to restore the power to the island before the dinosaurs eat you. And that's also a really fun game. We're getting ready to have our newest game, and I don't have the storyline completely finished on that one, but it's going to be called Alien Deception. So that's going to kind of be an alien-themed room. That's going to actually take place in Ransacked on Route 66. We're going to flip this room, and we're going to have a new game. So every so often we'll change our rooms. A lot of cities keep the same rooms all the time if you're in an area that is extreme high tourism. But where we have a lot of tourism, but a lot of locals as well that play, we want to keep it fresh. So we're going to be changing rooms from time to time. And the truth is, we love creating the games and we love changing them. We probably don't need to change them as often as we do, but we like the creativity aspect of it. So the escape game industry is one that has just really taken off in the United States in the past 5 years. They've been around for about 15 or so years in Europe. They started in Asia. But I think the reason that escape games are so alluring, people enjoy them so much, is that in our world, and I'm as bad as anyone else, of our technology, and we look like a squirrel with a nut most of the time with our hands as we are on our phones, you become very disconnected even though we're more connected than ever before. When you play an escape game, you come in, and whether you're with your friends or with your family or with co-workers, you're suddenly, the world is shut out, your technology is put away, and you have to work together to escape the game, to escape the room. And it's that adrenaline rush that you get of being so focused and so together that makes escape games so alluring. You know, they're great for team building because you're not going to have a weak link. It's not like, you know, you're walking across something or you're relaying something and you're afraid you're going to drop something. You know, you are playing a game and you're playing together and you use your strengths. There are some people who are, you know, they have keen observation and they step back and they're looking and they're watching and they're seeing things that others might be missing. There are others that are hands-on, they want to touch everything. There are others that are organizers, and they kind of begin very naturally starting to organize in clues. And so you use your area of giftedness and you come together and you work as a team, and as long as you communicate, and as long as you keep pushing forward, and as long as you use your clues well, and when you need them and you're not too stubborn to ask for clues, then most of the time you at least get close. You may not escape, but you get close. You know, one thing about our games is they are challenging. So we have designed these games to be highly challenging. The Twister Escape has about a 40% escape rate. This one, Ransacked on Route 66, has about a 28% escape rate. And then Leviathan Lab is our most challenging game and it has about a 23% escape rate. So when you get into the games, you know that you may not escape, but you are going to work together and do the best you can. And when they open that door, the energy, the rush, that they've accomplished something together is pretty exciting. It's really a lot of fun. You can see personality types, and that's why team buildings, there are some people, some employers that will actually use escape games. They'll put their employees in, and they will watch in the control booth just to watch how their employees are interacting with one another. You know, it just kind of gives them an idea of leaders and things. Now, we don't get that a lot here, but you can do that from time to time. We find it really interesting that some of the teams that get the closest to an escape or do escape are family units. And typically it's multi-generational family units where you have someone who is 6 years old all the way up to grandpa and, you know, mom and dad and cousins, and when they get in there together and you have that wisdom and they're used to working together and you have the different ages and the different perplexities of those personalities, and you see them work together. It's pretty exciting. Families play and they leave just thrilled and just excited that they have had just the experience together. Family teams tend to have one of the greatest chances of escape. They do, because the personalities are all very different. We also find that blended teams have a greater chance of escape. Maybe there's you and 4 friends decide you're going to do an escape game, and the game holds 8 people, so you book 4 spots. Well, then someone else comes in and they book 4 spots. And so you end up in here playing together, 2 different teams of 4, but you're playing the same game with the same goal. And those teams end up doing very well together. We think it's because you tend to think like your friends. And so when you have 2 different groups playing together, you have a lot of different ways of thinking. And people will play the game together, not know each other beforehand, and decide to go to dinner afterwards. Just because they've met each other and enjoyed each other, they want to continue that experience. A lot of times people want to know, how young is too young to play an escape game? Now, you would not want a team of 6-year-olds playing an escape game, because these games are challenging, they wouldn't get out. But if mom and dad are playing and the 6-year-old or the 5-year-old wants to play with you, you'd be surprised what the 6-year-old's going to figure out. We have a son who is 7. He's been playing with us since he's 6, and he loves it. He loves being a part of something and thinking, man, I'm struggling just like they are, and I'm working with mom and dad to try and get out of this experience. So the young ones love it too. We do a lot of birthdays, and so a lot of tweens will come in for birthdays, and sometimes it's best if a parent can play with them just to kind of help organize them. But it's really great for all ages. It's just a great thing for ages to do. Something unique about us is our games are challenging, and they're, you're going to have an adrenaline rush, no doubt. But our games are not overtly scary or creepy. Now, there are some businesses that really capitalize on the scary escape games. Ours are not so much that way. They're very mentally challenging, they're completely full of the adrenaline rush, but you're not going to be, there's nothing that you're afraid for your 6 or 7-year-old to experience in any of our games. We actually homeschooled our children growing up, so we've done a lot of puzzles and games and things, and I wish I could say it was always a sweet little experience, but sometimes the board would be turned upside down and kids screaming, so that's the reality of life. But we've always enjoyed working together. We enjoy challenges, and we do a lot of escape games. So it's kind of a fun thing for us. And we really get a lot of enjoyment of seeing someone burst out, and that enjoyment on their face, that thrill of victory on their face as they escape, and they're high-fiving, and it's just fun. Even the ones that don't escape will say how much fun they had, and that it was the first time that their child has communicated with them and put the game remote down. So it's rewarding for us to see people thoroughly enjoying themselves and connecting and working together. We find that one thing unique about our business is that we are sort of a destination here on State Street. So we find that about 60% of our customers come from outside of the Bristol area, and they come to State Street. And then what's even more exciting is that 75% of those who play end up visiting another business on State Street. So you're going to see them across the street at Southern Churn, or they're going to be next door at State Line, or they're going to go to Blackbird Bakery and grab something afterwards. Because once you play an escape game, you don't want the experience to end. People walk out and they stand on the street and they're still talking and they're chatting and they're jabbering, and then they go get a coffee at Bloom, or they go to State Line, or they go wherever, and they just want to relive that experience a little bit longer, because an escape game is highly experiential. And it's really, if you've never played one, it's something that you should try at least once.
Yeah.